Greetings viewers and welcome back. In this video I'm going to cover Army transport options. As you can see, there are two options available here in front of you. These are the ones that I use. There's a multitude out there that it would be impossible for me to show you every single one of them, so I'm just going to show you the two I use and give you some kind of key points and things to look out for when you're choosing and purchasing your own. The one on the left you see is the BattleHive II from Crystal Caste. The one on the right is the Pack 1520 XL from Battlefoam. I'll get into a little bit more detailed breakdown of each one of these in just a moment. One of the things you want to keep in mind when you're purchasing your transport options is that yes, there are options out there that are way more expensive than others. However, like I mentioned in the first video, I don't mind spending a little bit extra because I believe you get what you pay for, and I don't want to spend a little bit of money on a cheap transport and end up with broken, chipped models whenever I bring them from my house to where I play at. So I don't mind spending a little bit extra to keep my investments safe. One of the things you definitely need to keep in mind when you're purchasing your particular Army transport option is the availability of purchasing new or replacement trays for your bags or boxes or whatever it is you decide to purchase. And the reason for this is because the first Army you get may not be the only one you keep, or you may get rid of it. You may get rid of some of the initial models you purchased because they sounded good on paper when you read them in the codex, but once you started playing with them you realized how bad they actually were. And if you made room for them in your trays and now you kind of need to swap those out from wherever you store them at, some of the other models you replace them with may not be the same size or fit quite as well, and it kind of throws off the whole balance of where you're putting all your stuff. So you may need to swap out some trays, or even some of the ones that may come standard with your particular box or bag may not be what you need, and then you're going to need something maybe a little bit thicker or a couple extra trays that are a little bit thinner to replace those big ones with. So I'll kind of show you that with these options that I have, again, to kind of show you what I'm talking about. One idea to keep in mind too is if you do end up with multiple armies. Now obviously if you have one army that ends up being very large and you need two different options, then by all means, I mean, that may be what it takes to get your army where it's going. But if you do have, such as these two in front of you, in the BattleHive I have my Necron army, and in the Pack 1520 XL I have my Tyranid army. So if I only had one of these options, one of the things that you can do is you can buy a set of just trays for each army and just have one transport bag or box available, because typically if you're going to play a game or a tournament or something, you're only bringing one army anyway, so there's no need to spend the extra money on another box or a bag when all you really need are the trays that transport it. So for what I'm actually starting to do with my Battlefoam bag is I'm purchasing sets of trays again for each one of my armies. So I've got my Chaos army set up in a set of trays that kind of sit in the closet while I transport my Tyranid army to play, and then if I want to play the Chaos army, I set the Tyranid trays aside and transport the Chaos army where I'm going. Again, this saves you a little bit of money, and it kind of is a little bit more efficient for storage because each one of the individual trays is a lot easier to put on shelves or set aside than it is a gigantic bag or a box. So what I'm going to get into now is I'm going to go ahead and demo each one of these options for you. I'm going to show you the BattleHive II first, and then I'm going to get into the Pack 1520 XL. Again, I'm going to put a link for each one of these companies' websites in the section below so you guys can check them out and see what you think. So again, this is the BattleHive II by Crystal Caste. They also have the original BattleHive, which is about half the size of this one. I really don't like it because there's not a whole lot of space in it. Unless you have a really tiny army or you're only transporting maybe one or two big models in it, I don't really see a need for it. That's why I kind of went with this one. It honestly looks a lot sturdier and fancier than it is. The walls on this thing, I mean, they're pretty solid. It's definitely a good transport option. I mean, obviously, unless you're throwing this thing down a flight of stairs, you shouldn't have much to worry about. But the walls are a little thin, and again, it looks a lot more fancy than it is. It's got a nice carrying handle that's pretty sturdy on here, and it also has luggage type wheels with the expandable handle on it, so you can kind of pick it up and roll it wherever it is that you're going, especially if you have more than one of these to transport your particular army. And it has the legs on it so you can stand it up sideways as well with those wheels. So it's got these two latches on the front of it to get into it. Open it up, and on the top it comes with 3 of these little trays. All the foam that comes in this bag is the little pluck type foam, so you can kind of create your own custom sizes for each one of the models that you want to put in here. It's all a bunch of little pre-cut squares that you just kind of figure out how big of a space you need and pluck out just that amount, and then you can kind of set up all your stuff the way you need it. I haven't quite used any of these for this army. Again, this is the Necron army that I keep in this box. So there's 3 of these little small trays. Every one of the trays in this bag have these little kind of tabs on the side, so that when the tray is sitting in the box, it sticks up past the tray itself, so you can grab onto it and lift it out, and that's even for the bigger trays that lie underneath. So whenever you're putting your stuff in here, you want to make sure those are visible, because that way you're not ripping your foam trying to grab it from the sides and pull it out because you forgot to kind of leave the tabs out. So again, it comes with 3 of these little guys here. It comes with a little tray type thing in here. It's pretty sturdy and nice. I kind of keep some of the counters and extra dice in here. You can put whatever you want. You can use this to transport some of your models if you want to put them on like a little tray, or you could even roll your dice in it if you don't have a lot of room on the table or somewhere set aside to roll dice on. Another option to use this for. Nothing fancy to it, just a little tray that comes with your box. So again, we got our little tabs here on the side. Lift out our tray. And I got my tape measure here so we can confirm how big these are. This is a 1-inch tray that comes on top. It's perfect for small troop size models or little things such as Ripper Swarms or Scarab bases such as I have in here. The models will lay down sideways, they will not stand up, so again you just kind of figure out the size you want, pluck out the squares, and the models will fit just fine for you. So as you can see, I got all that stuff in there. And again, none of the models are poking up if you look at it from the side, so there's nothing sticking up over the top. The backs of these are, I'll show you on the little one, the little foam squares are on the top here. The back side is cardboard, so if you have any part of your models that are sticking up past the top of the foam and you put this on there is a potential you'll either kind of crush the cardboard in, which isn't a big deal, or you could even put some pressure on that model and possibly pop an arm or something off, whatever it is that's bumping it. So you want to kind of try to keep your stuff as flush as possible so it's not sticking up out of the box. So we've got our next tray in here, which I believe is a 2-inch tray, and it is. So this is a 2-inch tray. I have all 30 of my Necron warriors in here. These guys are able to stand up on their own. Again, this is 2 inches tall, so any model that's less than 2 inches will fit in here perfectly. And again, if I turn this sideways, none of the models are sticking up over the top here. So again, pluck the foam out that you need, fit your models in there. I try to make the most use of space available. I tried to give them as much space as I could in here. I ended up with this little line down the middle where I wasn't quite able to fit anything in there, but if I have something smaller later on that I need to put in there, I can easily fit it. Such as maybe a Scarab Swarm going in sideways or something, that would work. Next tray that comes in the box here, let me go ahead and measure this one. This is the 3-inch tray. So this kind of is used for the taller models. I've got things like my Destroyers in here, Wraiths, I've got some Tomb Spiders, Destroyer Lord, and then I've just got a regular Necron Lord because he's standing there with his little staff. He kind of stands up a little taller than the other models, so this one works perfectly for him. And I still have some room here in the middle if I were to ever get any other models that need to fit in there, would go in easily. So I kind of, again, tried to make the most use of space available so I don't kind of waste anything or spread out farther than I need to. So again, if I do need to expand and add more troops in here, I'm not running into the sides of them or I don't quite have room. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're designing how you're going to fit your army into a tray such as this when you're plucking the foam out. Because once you take that foam out, you can't really stick it back in. I mean, I'm sure you could use some glue or something, but it won't be as good as it was when you first started using it. So, the next tray that's in here I have not used yet. I didn't have any models that were tall enough to fit in it, but this tray is 4 inches tall. So, again, I don't have any models that are this big to fit in here, so with the whole knowing where to get extra trays and purchasing some, since this is a 4-inch tray, I could easily purchase 2 more of the 2-inch trays. Obviously, if you do the math, it'll fit. So I can fit more troops in here. So if, let's say, I bought a whole nother 2 trays of warriors or immortals or something else that needed to fit in there, I could easily toss this aside because I'm not really using it. I could have my box set up the way I want it, and this tray's, I don't want to say it's useless. I mean, I'm sure somebody else could use it if they had the same box. So if you have a friend that's playing with you and you guys buy the same things, maybe you can swap some trays out depending on which army you're using, or you could always set it aside for later again in case you expand your army and you purchase some models that you may need to fit in there, such as maybe a Space Marine Rhino or Land Raiders will fit in here as well. They take up quite a bit of space, but it'll still fit, and it's not taller than the foam. So definitely hold on to them or trade with a friend, fix it up the way you need it to get your bag set up, and you should be good to go. But this is a very nice box, and again, all of this stuff that came in here, minus the models, is $100, which is a pretty damn good deal if you ask me, as far as what you get out of it versus the price, and it's a very, very good option to use. And again, on their website, you can purchase any one of these size trays, anything from those little small squares, which are actually, these are the same size as the BattleHive 1, so if you need extra ones of these, that's what you would purchase. And then you've got the bigger trays available in each one of the thicknesses. So if you need to expand or change your army or swap out some of the trays that are useless to you, you can swap those out easily, purchase them for a couple bucks, and get your box set up the way you want it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away. I'm going to move on to demonstrating the Battlefoam 1520 XL for you. As you see in front of you, we have the Battlefoam Pack 1520 XL. This is probably one of my favorite things that I own as far as Army transport is concerned. It's a very high quality product, and the company has excellent customer service. I'll put a link to their website again below so you can kind of check out all the stuff they have to offer. As you can see, it comes in this nice canvas exterior here. It's got a carrying handle on the top. It's got a zipper on the top here for actually extra expandability. They sell, I think, 3 other different bags that zip onto the top of this, which is very nice in case you kind of run out of room with it, even as much space as there is in this thing. It's got a small pocket on the front that kind of sits flush here. You can fit maybe a codex or 2 and some Army lists or paperwork in there that you might need. It's got 2 big pockets on either side. They're identical. You can fit quite a bit of stuff in here, including a rule book and, again, some more codexes or anything else you might need, some templates and dice and all that. And then, along with the luggage wheels that it has, such as the other box I just showed you, and the carrying handle for rolling it wherever you're going, it's got these 2 extra long pockets on the side, which seem kind of odd, and you can't really fit a whole lot of your own stuff in there. But with these pockets on all the 2 sides of these 2 long ones or 4, they sell what's called the X-Board display board from Battlefoam. It's for when you go to tournaments and places that like to have your army displayed on a little display board. It comes with a pre-assembled frame that kind of breaks down and fits into each one of these slots here, and then the 2 table portions of it that actually fit onto the frame where your models stand go in either one of the pockets on the side here. So a very nice option. You can also have your name or anything else you want stitched onto the bag set on here, such as I've done on the side there. So when you open the bag, it opens kind of like a little refrigerator door. It's got 2 zippers on it. Zip that open, and then again it opens like a little mini fridge. And then we've got all our foam trays stacked inside. This is the only bag that opens like this. Most of the other ones have some kind of a flap that fold up from the top, or some of them will be even more differently than that, but I kind of like the way this one works. And then again, we've got all our foam trays stacked in here. One of the good things with Battlefoam is they have several options available for foam trays. This particular option here, along with many of the other ones I have, are custom-made trays. If you go to their foam tray options for the particular game you play, which obviously you go to 40K, this is for my Tyranid army, so they have pre-designated trays for particular models and options available for that army. This is the Termagant tray. They try to make the most use of space available with this little particular shape that you can see fits these models pretty well. They jam as many on there as I can, and this is pre-made, so you don't have to worry about doing it yourself. If you have a whole tray of these guys for something like this, more than likely you're going to need a couple of them. I actually have 2 trays. I've got 1 full and then this partial one, and some of them are still in progress being painted. So definitely a nice option available, so you don't have to go on the website and make all your own trays. They also have the little pluck foam available, such as the box that I showed you previously, where the whole tray is nothing but that foam, and you can kind of pluck it out and design it yourself. Or you can also do a custom tray. They have a little program on their website you go to, pick all the little different shapes that you want. They even have shapes available for specific games or specific models, such as these guys. So I can actually make my own tray incorporating a couple of these and then put something else on there if I really want to. And you can do that in different thicknesses. So again, this is standard trays that are available through them. Nothing fancy about them. They're just they're made out of kind of like a squishy foam at the top here, and they cut it with the laser, and then once that's done, they actually stick this little bit more rigid foam on the bottom, and that's to kind of give it some structure so I can hold it by the end here and the whole thing's not flopping over and all my stuff's popping out. It holds up a pretty good amount of weight, and it keeps your stuff nice and cushioned when you're transporting it around. So again, I've got 2 of these little Termagant trays here. Another pre-made tray from Battlefoam is the Hormagant tray, where they got all these little triangle shapes. Again, this is one that they've designed, and I just purchased it as is, and it just tries to make the most use of space available for all these little triangular shapes to fit all your guys in one tray. And then I've got 3 of these Gene Stealer trays, where again they've just punched a whole bunch of circles on there that they could. Fits the Gene Stealers in there perfectly. They don't I mean, none of these holes are designed to hold the model exactly as is. That'd be a little bit tough getting your stuff in and out. You'd probably rub some of the paint off or something. So there's a little bit of wiggle room, but because it is foam, it's not going to damage it, such as if you use something like a tackle box or something with just all plastic trays. If these things are rattling around in there, you're definitely going to have some damage to your models. So these certainly keep it nice and cushioned for the amount of space the models get to kind of sit in. And I do have 3 of these trays. Again, for the Gene Stealer, these are the pre-made Battlefoam trays. So, and there's our 3rd one. It's not quite full, but I've got a couple more that need to go in there. Set those aside. These next 2 trays that I have in here are custom trays that I've made. And as you can see, there's a hodgepodge of shapes on here. These particular shapes here, again, I used their little custom tray creator. So these are the holes for the Tyranid warriors with weapons slots. It fits the models in there perfectly, and I can kind of put it wherever I want without having to trace them out or do anything funky as far as putting them in a shape that's too big. So ends up trying to, again, make the most use of space available. Got some big circles in here for my Tyrant Guard. I've got some ovals for Brood Lords, and then just some extra shapes in here to hold whatever hodgepodge of stuff that's left over. And we've got our last tray. This again was another custom tray that I had designed with 2 Carnifex slots, which I was using for my Tervigons, which were custom creations because there wasn't a model available. And now they've come out with the new Tervigon Tyrannifex models, which I've got assembled, and I'm waiting on my new tray that I've ordered to replace this one, simply because the model's a lot bigger and will not fit in that space. So that kind of sucks, but it's something you got to kind of deal with and kind of think about, and I wouldn't necessarily say expect it, but at least keep it in the back of your mind that it's a possibility if you're playing with a model that there is not actually a model for, and it's something you've created yourself in the meantime. There may come a day where they create something and it may not quite match up. This is on, again, a Carnifex with the monstrous creature size base. The new model itself is actually on an oval base and is way larger than this and will not fit in there whatsoever. I've already got them assembled and I've tried it. It will not fit. So if you're in that same situation, you may want to go ahead and get a new tray ordered. So again, this holds my zoanthropes in here in these little circular trays, and then I've got my Hive Guard inside these big rectangular ones, which are a lot bigger than I needed them to be, but it ended up working out the way I had the trays designed for them to fit in there. So that was the Battlefoam 1520 XL, definitely a good quality product from a very reputable company that has excellent customer service. One of the things I actually ran into, I can point out when I designed this tray, there is an option on the little tray creator thing that says Tyrant, and I assumed that it would be a Tyranid Hive Tyrant, so I put that space in here. The company actually, again, has very good customer service. They look at the product, they kind of keep in mind and individualize each order to the person ordering it. So they actually emailed me and said, hey, that Tyrant slot that you used on there is not for the Tyranid Tyrants, it's actually for the fantasy game. So your Tyrant will not fit in there. If you want to change the tray, go ahead and let us know so that we can kind of take care of that. And I'm glad that they paid attention to that, and they didn't just simply, well, throw it in the machine, start laser cutting it. I get it in the mail and find out, oh crap, my model doesn't fit. You know, that's kind of crummy. So they definitely take good care of their customers, and they'll email you really quickly and let you know what's going on. It does take a little bit of time if you order some custom trays to get your stuff. This whole entire setup that I just showed you took approximately a month from the day that I ordered it till the day it arrived at my house, because again, they've got a lot of orders going on. If it's a custom order, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you want your name stitched on it or something, that adds a little bit of time. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't expect to order this and have it, you know, shipped overnight to you. So again, definitely good quality product. I'm in the process of purchasing new sets of trays for each one of my armies, so I can again keep using just this bag and have all the trays set aside. So not a bad option to look into if you do decide to get something like this. And I do have the ability to again zip on another bag on the top here if I end up needing even more space than what I've already got. So hopefully you found this video useful. If so, please like the video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to see in greater detail, I'll be glad to help you out. Just post a comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.